In this video series, we are going to see how we can convert a wireframe which was created by Figma can be converted into a web page using CSS Flexbox and CSS Grid. Now this is a wireframe. So this is the add building wireframe page. So if we want to design this using HTML and CSS, we can first use the Visual Studio Code editor, and we can click open folder, and in desktop we can create a new folder called HTML screens, and inside that HTML screens I'm going to create another folder called CSS. So we have now this HTML screens folder, and then we are going to open it in the Visual Studio Code. So it has HTML screens folder, and inside that HTML screens folder we have this CSS folder. So we are going to create one HTML file directly under the HTML screens folder. New file. I'm going to click new file, and I'm going to name it as add building dot html. And in Visual Studio Code we can easily create the HTML template using just the exclamation mark. So it will create this template. So I'm going to rename the title to add building, and now in the body area to design that screen, I'm going to use divs. So I'm creating one div, and I'm going to give the class for that div as main. So that's the main div. So it will contain everything in our HTML page. Inside that main div, I'm going to create three more divs. One is called header. One is having the class header. The next one is having the class container. That's the main content area. And the third div is having the class footer. So we can easily create these divs with the class using div.footer, div.header, div.container, like that. It will then create these kind of divs. So I'm going to use that main div uh, first in the CSS. So before that, um, so we can see like there are three divs inside the main div. One is header, other one is the container, the third one is footer. So before going to use it in CSS, we have to first link the CSS file to the HTML file. I'm going to give the path. So before giving the path, I'm going to create the CSS file inside the CSS folder. I will name it as styles.css, and then I'm going to give the path to that styles.css inside the HTML file. So now our CSS file is linked to the HTML file. Now I'm going to select the main div, and I'm using the class .main, and I'm going to give the background color to any color, just to show uh, how it looks in the browser. So I'm going to use this color, cornflower blue, and then inside the header div, I'm going to give some text. I'm just going to give the text header area. Similarly, in the container div, I'm going to give text main main content area, and in the footer div, I'm going to give the text footer area. So that's the current structure of our web page. So if we open this in the browser, let's see uh, what we can see in the browser. I'm opening the page in the Chrome browser. So it just looks like this. It shows the background color with the text that we added. So, but our requirement is we have to span this header, container, and footer areas in the whole page of the website, web page. So right now it's only showing at the top of the page. So how can we make it like span in the uh, whole page? So I'm going to use display flex Flexbox CSS technology. So for that, I'm using display colon flex, and I'm using the flex hyphen direction to column because we want to have the header, then the content area, then the footer uh, one by one in the vertical axis, not in the horizontal. That's why I use flex direction column. Also, I'm using justify content as space between. So if we refresh the page, we still see header area, main content area, footer area, but it's still not spanning in the entire uh, browser. Like it's only showing in the top. So to make it span vertically in the entire height of the browser, what we can do is we can add height to the main div. I'm going to add height as 100 VH. VH means uh, the viewport height. 100. 100 means the whole height. So now it is showing in the entire browser area, and it takes up the 100% of the viewport height. So also we can see header area, main content area, and footer area is apart from each other significantly because of the justify content we use here. We use the justify content as space between. Because of that, it shows uh, it has a lot of uh, space between each div. And for the flex direction, we can use another value. Here we use column, and instead, let's see the justify content first. So instead of space between, we can use start for the justify content. If we use start, it shows in the top part of the browser, not in the entire area. It only aligns in the top part. If we use end for the justify content, it will show in the bottom part of the browser, just like this. Based on the value we are using for the justify content, it will align the divs in uh, in the browser. So we have a few more options. Another one is space around. Initially we use space between. If we use space around, it will be like it will have some space around every div. Like in the header, there will be space on top of the header, and bottom of the header. And just like that, main content also will have top of the main content space in the main top of the main content and bottom of the main content. Likewise, in the footer also same. If you use space evenly, it will have even space between each div. It will be showing even space. But we can use the previous option, which is space between. When we use space between, it will show the header in the topmost and the footer will show in the bottommost, and the other content will show in the middle. Just like that, we can change the flex direction as well. If we use the flex direction to row, it will change the vertical spanning of the content to the horizontal, just like this. Header area, main content area, and footer area now showing in horizontal axis because we use the row as the flex direction. But in this case, we don't want to use the flex direction to row. We need the column. Also, another option we can use is just like height. Instead of height, we can use width as well. So if we use width, we can use 100 VW. Earlier we used 100 VH. H means height. Here 100 VW. W means width here. So width 100 VW means 100% of the width of the viewport. V means viewport. So now it is showing. It doesn't show the 100% of height because we commented out that one. It only takes the space that is needed for the text, for the header area, main content area, and footer area, and it spans the entire width instead of the height. So that's the difference. We can have this both height and width. So we can use the height as 100 VH and width as 100 VW. In that case, it will span in both horizontally and vertically, just like this. And another option we can use is we can use maximum height and maximum width instead of just height and width. If we use that, it will only take the height or width which is necessary for the content. That's why in the vertical area, it does not span the entire height of the browser because it does not need that much. It only needs the space for that text because we set that max height there instead of just height. Let's change the content. I'm going to add lorem ipsum of about 100 for the main content area, and I'm going to add lorem of 20 for the header area, and for the footer lorem of 50. Now when we change this content, then it will span the area that needed for the content. So let's refresh the browser, and now it is taking the space based on the content. That's what max width and max height does. It only takes the height and width based on the enclosing content of that particular div.